Welcome to the Black Belt Business Podcast. My name is Matthew Brenner, and today I am with Courtney Eardley. And hopefully, I didn't say your name wrong. And if you are thinking about either growing your social media, attracting more girls to your martial arts school, figuring out what it's like, like behind the scenes of a Taekwondo athlete, especially female, like this is going to be the episode for you. We're going to touch on all those topics. We're going to talk about what it's like being a digital nomad, traveling all the time. So, if you're interested in any of those topics, you're going to want to listen to this episode because we have with us Courtney. And Courtney, give us your Instagram handle for people who are listening right now and they want to check you out while we're talking.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. My Instagram handle is Taekwondo Technician, or if you were to search Courtney Eardley, it should come up as well. And actually, I
Perfect.
have another one, Social Media Sensei. So that one is very much just like the business and the social media side of things too.
Okay, great. So make sure to give her a follow right now while you're listening, so you can check out what she offers, and we'll talk about your business side as well too today. But before we start, like when we were talking before we got on here, I was doing some research about you, and it was funny because like everything I thought was wrong. Like, first of all, I was like, "Oh, you're Australian." You're like, "No, I'm from South Africa." I'm like, "Okay, that's embarrassing." And then I'm like, "Oh, but you live in Thailand." And you're like, "No, I live in Australia." uh, but now you're not sure, but what did you say about the UK?
So I was born in Johannesburg in South Africa, and I moved to the UK when I was roughly 18 months old. So
Mm.
I grew up in the UK. I did all my studies. That's where I sort of fell into the sort of my Taekwondo career. And then post Taekwondo career and university, I moved to Australia. So I've been in Australia for 6 years now.
Okay, very cool. And were you in Thailand at some point?
Yeah. So I have traveled a lot, but I did actually move to Thailand briefly. I think it would have been around 2023 for about
Okay.
6 months. Yeah.
That might have been when I first reached out to you in social media, because that's why I remember you're like, "I just
Yeah.
moved. I don't know." And for people who are listening, like for people who I really want on the show, I'll annoy the crap out of them on social media until it's borderline harassment. So, thank you so much for not calling the cops on me to get you on the show. And finally, we got you on, and I'm happy to have you here. So we're gonna play a game to start the conversation, if it's cool with you. We're gonna
Yeah.
play overrated, underrated. Okay.
Oh gosh.
And
Okay.
considering my poor research apparently about where you're from, maybe some of these questions will make sense, maybe they won't. Okay, so we're gonna play overrated, underrated. I'm gonna say something, you're just gonna tell me whether you think it's overrated or underrated. And if you want to explain your thought process, you're more than welcome to. Cool?
Okay. Keen.
All right, so overrated, underrated. First thing is Vegemite.
Ooh. Ooh, I'm gonna say overrated. I do like Vegemite, but I wouldn't say it's like my first top spread.
Okay, all right, what's your top
Yeah.
spread?
Peanut butter. Smooth.
Okay. Well, okay, I feel like
Yeah, yeah.
that's pretty American, isn't it? Peanut
Like,
butter?
I don't
It
it could
feels like
yeah, but
it.
that's because 'cause you're thinking of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's just peanut
Oh,
butter and
true.
honey.
Okay, okay, peanut butter honey is good. Alright, next one, sleep masks, overrated, underrated?
Underrated.
Hmm, I
And I wish
saw
I'd prepared because I have a collection.
yeah, I saw your Amazon wish list, and it was like a sleep mask with, like, headphones built in or something, and I was like, "So do you wear a sleep mask every night?"
Yep, 100%.
Wow, okay. It's a high
But
maintenance
the
sleeper.
um, I'm actually not, but I would say when I was struggling a little bit and I wanted to sort of reduce anxiety and things, I used to listen to YouTube channels, which was like certain frequencies. But a friend actually told me about the eye mask that had the built-in speakers. And it is I don't sleep with that one all the time, but it is an absolute game changer. And I also feel like women that have just given birth and they're like falling asleep, like to put that thing on. But
Mm,
yeah, like
mm.
I've heard good reviews from some of my friends too.
Can you sleep without it or no?
Oh yeah, I can sleep without it. So I don't rely on them, but it's great. In Australia, the sun comes up very early. Like the sun is bright all the time. So it's great to just block out the light.
Even though, eye mask sounds like high maintenance, I wear a mouth tape every night. Do you know about that?
Yeah. See, no, I don't do that, but
No?
yeah,
Well, if
I'll
you
block
breathe through
out.
your nose like a normal human, you don't need it. But I apparently breathe through my mouth, so I need to put tape over my mouth like I'm a hostage or something. and it's really good for helping me sleep because I breathe directly through my nose and my breath doesn't smell when I wake up. But it prevents I have zero pillow talk with my fiance because of that. Because I have to
Yeah.
that part sucks, and it's a really big downside.
I was gonna say, like, for us, well, me, you've got your eyes closed, right? And you're the one with your mouth tape on, so you can't see it. But can you imagine, excuse me, what like your partner and your fiance see, from the other perspective? Like
Yeah, it's
wake
I
up in the
mean
middle of the night, like, and you've got your like,
I hope she's used to it by now, but when I'm on an airplane, I wear the eye mask, I wear earplugs and the mouth tape, and I look like a psycho. So, but
you'll never
airplane, I
see
think
those people
anything.
again.
Yeah, true, true. Alright, next one, underrated, overrated, digital nomad lifestyle.
Underrated,
Mm,
massively,
mm. Vitamin
massively
supple Okay, next one, vitamin supplement.
underrated.
Okay. American accents.
I am very neutral. I don't see
Neutral.
how I could be. To be honest, I think the only reason I would say underrated is because it reminds me of when I went to LA or like to New
Mm,
York. Like, I think it just brings back memories. That's all.
okay, let me see. Spin kicks.
Underrated.
Underrated.
Yeah. When performed correctly, they're only dangerous if they're just performed at the wrong time. Yeah, because they can be very like risky. If you
Yeah,
throw that
definitely
thing
higher.
correctly, ooh,
Mhm. Okay, next one, taekwondo tournaments.
underrated.
Okay, I hope I pronounced this right.
Feel-
Bitlong. It's like the South African beef jerky.
Oh yeah, you said that so wrong, but I'll
What is
forgive
it?
you.
How do you say it?
Biltong,
Biltong. Okay, yeah.
biltong,
I've heard it
and
before. Yeah.
for all my South Africans out there, they are 100% saying it's underrated. And the more authentic it is as well, like if it's made by a South African, you just know you're eating like bites of memories in heaven. So underrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu.
Oh, underrated.
Okay.
I'm very new in that space. However, from a woman's perspective, that when it comes to self defense, I think it's probably very practical, like
Mm.
more than throwing a spinning kick in that sort
Did
of situation.
you start training recently?
I started training when I was in Thailand. I trained out of Bangtao Muay Thai and I was doing the 10 a.m. BJJ classes. And it was just, yeah, the best.
Why didn't you keep it up?
I do, but it's not as regiment. Like when you're over there living in Thailand, there's actually not much else to do other than train, recover. Whereas here, there's a lot more of, I guess, life and the social life that you've got to sort of keep up.
Okay. Now we got a couple more here. Self-help books.
Underrated.
Underrated. Okay. Let's see. One more. Instagram.
Underrated.
Right. Yeah, everything is underrated. I'm like, give me something that's overrated.
Uh, I don't know what I could tell you that's overrated.
The sun.
Well,
How
if
about the sun?
no, the sun is under like the sun gives
Okay.
you so much positive. Like I'm just a positive person. If it helps you,
Yeah.
it helps you.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for playing that game with me. So now we know a little bit more about like, what you don't like, and some of that stuff I found like going through your Amazon wish list. So is that like when you have that on your Instagram? Is that like a way that people can just like support you in your online journey? Is that a normal thing that social media influencers have up, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, some influencers will sort of make their wish list public. Look, no one's ever bought anything off my wish list before. For me, it's like every time I see something, it's like, for example, this was on my wish list, my little
You got a
Logitech.
mouse?
Yeah. But then again, it's like an investment, right? If you're spending hours on your laptop, like you've got to protect your wrist. But yeah, people tend to, you can have like a PayPal link. A lot of people do like to support you. So yeah, it's there if people would like to be helpful, but I never rely on or expect anything from anyone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So let's dive into it. So, like, you're a martial arts athlete, but you're also a social media coach slash business owner. and also an influencer. When you think about your identity, like what comes to mind first?
I would definitely say I'd say like a taekwondo athlete. It's really hard because if you were asking me this question like a couple of years ago, I'd be like, yeah, taekwondo athlete. But as a retired athlete, it's really hard to call yourself an athlete when you're no longer competing. I think that's like a mental challenge. But when you've done something for so long, there's literally no way of sort of removing that part of your life. So yeah, right now I would, because I'm not traveling either, so I wouldn't say I'm like a digital nomad right now. I'd say, yeah, probably like Taekwondo enthusiast plus like mentor. Yeah,
Okay, you mean like a
that's a tough
generic like
question.
mentor? Yeah, like a mentor in general, or you mean like social media mentor, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so actually I do my social media mentoring, but I honestly a lot of my clients that come to me, it's not just Instagram that they need support with. So sometimes I do feel like I'm pretty much like a life coach that sort of helps with people's Instagrams as well. But every client is very different. So yeah, like some of my mentoring might be just solely social media. They want to grow that. Some of it is actually like wanting to scale and build a business. And that, as you know, takes a lot more than just knowledge in social media.
What kind of life advice do people usually come to you for?
So they don't realize they're coming to me for certain advice. It
Mm,
comes through questions that they ask. A lot of questions is, will this work? Like it's a lot of self doubt questions. And if you have self doubt in your own ability, your business will never be successful because if you're the first person that won't buy your product or buy your service, how can
mm.
you expect anyone else to be confident enough to buy it as well? So yeah, a lot of clients are constantly like, oh, I'm not sure if this is going to work. Or like they'll ask me, do you think if I do this? And if I do that, I'm like, look, just do it. The only way we're going to find out is if you do it. And we definitely need to have the right mindset.
Hmm. So how often do you have a post and you're like, man, I don't know if I should post this or not? And like if you're gonna run it by someone, do you run it like who are you reaching out to see if like it's a good post or not?
Uh, Myself, I don't have anyone that's helping me at the moment with my Instagram.
Okay.
And quite frankly, like if your content is ruffling a few feathers and it's a little bit of a controversial topic, I think it's actually like, look, if you're not crossing boundaries or being disrespectful and it is like a genuine opinion, if some people are getting offended by it, I think that person that's getting offended should really sort of sit down and have a think, okay, why is that piece of content bringing me this certain emotion?
Hmm.
A lot of the time, and I actually posted recently about it, is a lot of people follow individuals that bring them feelings of like envy and jealousy and like sometimes like hate. And I just think, well, why are you following them? Like you're literally testing yourself every time you see that person's Instagram. It is as easy as clicking an unfollow button. So yeah, I'm not as
Okay.
scared of ruffling a few feathers, but yeah,
So you never
I would.
like you never post and you think like, all right, maybe this isn't a good post. You don't have that like inner thought. You're just like, okay, you feel confident. You know it's good to go out.
Yeah, because like I say, it's all about just being respectful. Like you never targeting anyone, you'd never call anybody out. Personally, like, yeah, even when it's things like as an influencer, we post a lot about just general life and personal things. And like you said, as long as it's not crossing any sort of confidentiality boundaries, like, yeah, I'm pretty confident that like it's not gonna be something that's gonna cause upset. If
Mm.
it's a controversial topic, pineapple on pizza, look, I'm all here for it. The one post, we can be quite smart. The one post that did go viral and it brought a lot of attention, should I say, was when I posted a clinch video. And in Taekwondo back in the day, if you were in the clinch, you can do a scorpion kick to the back of the head. And because a lot of people, no offense out there, that aren't so switched on, if they were to click into my page and see that I'm all about Taekwondo, they would know the word clinch was related to Taekwondo. However, people saw the word clinch and they absolutely railed me for like, no, that wouldn't work. You'd get taken down, blah, blah, blah. But what they didn't realize is they're literally bringing all of the attention to that page that like I wanted. After it went viral, I then changed the name to Taekwondo Clinch.
Okay, nice. So do you often like read your comments?
Uh, in all honesty, and I tell a lot of my clients to do this as well, is yes, read your comments and sort of reply to the ones that are actually bringing you the right engagement that you want on your page. If they're not bringing the right engagement, I would ignore them. And then if they're inappropriate, I would be deleting them. But as you can imagine, like when you've got such a large following, like, yeah, you can't be replying to everyone's comments. You can't be replying to everyone in your DMs. Like I do the best that I can.
Mm.
But most of the time, like my saying is set it and forget it. Because if again, this is where the life sort of coaching comes into it. If you're so fixated on what people actually think and what are saying, that's where social media can become pretty like it can be a downfall and it really affect your mental health.
Has there ever been a time where you felt like it was affecting your mental health in a negative way and like you need to step away from it or to set boundaries?
I would say no, I'm actually pretty confident. There's always times where, you read a comment and you'd be like, that's quite hurtful. But then I'm very quick to realize like the type of person that's sitting behind their fingertips, sort of typing this message. And I go, okay, if you've got something to say about my leg being above my head whilst I'm trying to smile for a photo shoot and my thumbs are pointing the wrong way, go for it. Like if that's actually the time, like you have that time in the day to tell me this is a thing. That's why I'm bringing it up. Like I would do photo shoots. My leg is literally up here. I'm trying to smile and not look like I'm dying, you know, and my thumbs just have this natural tendency to just go wild and constantly be like, oh, you don't deserve 3 black belts because you can't even hold your fists together. Like it would just be a lot of like stupid stuff. And I think, okay, well, if you can send me a picture of exactly what I've just done with your thumbs in, I will respect your comment,
All right, nice.
which has
So like
never happened.
no one's ever taken you up on that? So, well, I guess when someone comes to you and they want help, let's say not with the life coaching as much, which it kind of turns into. I know that's not what you really advertise, but if
Yeah.
someone comes to you and they're looking for social media advice, they want to grow their following. Do you usually try to find out like what their why is first, like why they even want to do that? Do you think people have the wrong intentions sometimes? Like, how do you start the conversation?
Yeah. 100% I go straight into what's called ikigai. I don't know if have you heard of the concept?
Yes, yeah,
It's
you can
yeah,
explain it.
it's a Japanese concept of basically finding your purpose. And I
Mhm.
know when I read the little book of Ikigai, it really helped me. And inside of my coaching and inside of my social media mastery course, the first module is literally understanding your why. Because if you don't understand your purpose, your why, and if they come to me and go, I just want to make money online, I probably won't work with that person until I sit down with them and go, you need to tell me why you want to make money doing what you're doing. Money is an outcome. Passive income is is an outcome. But if you're telling me you want to work hard and you want to bring awareness in a certain topic, okay, I'm interested. So yeah, definitely we'd look at sort of like the purpose and someone's ikigai before we even dive into anything else.
And what are reasons usually people say? Like besides making money or having passive income, what do people usually say?
Actually, a lot of my clients that I've worked with or people that come to me, they have like this, and it's what I had in 2022, but you have sort of like a gut feeling you're supposed to be doing something. And a lot of the time, it's sort of like a passion that people are just too scared to really pursue like 100%. So I've had a client before, she used to work in hospitality and she was working stupid hours. And she just said, you know what, I want to be some sort of coach. I want to work with women. I have a lot of knowledge in sort of like the gut health sort of space. And when we started working together, she's now left hospitality. She's now working one on one very closely with women and building such a great community. And she's actually probably one of them that's seen the most results because she was so just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is why I want to do it. And not giving, I was going to swear, but not giving like a crap about what anyone else thinks. Like she's so just like, I'm doing this for me. And it's really paid off.
Hmm. So let's say you figure out their why. It makes sense what they want. And I think you used to work in a call center. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what were you doing in a call center?
So when I moved to Australia, I probably moved with around 23 kilos and probably like 500 pounds. So obviously when you first get here, you're trying to like get settled, make some money, just to obviously pay rent and be an adult basically. And I came across this job in a call center for a betting company. But I remember at a certain point, I remember sitting in my apartment and looking out, and the sun was shining. And I'm sat here at 5 a.m. going, "Hey, it's Courtney here from, the betting company. How may I help you?" And it was just like abuse. Like no one ever calls you because they've won money. All right. They've always called you because they've lost money, and and you're the one that's going to get hell. And I literally just remember going, "What the F am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? I did not move to Australia alone to be doing this as my life. Like, that is not what I pictured." And then I just started doing research into how can I take my knowledge in Taekwondo in the digital space, like further. And that's when I basically invested in my business for the first time. And that changed my life, like fully changed my life from that day.
What was like the biggest jump where you're like, holy crap, this is like, or maybe your first big lift in following or something, or the first time you made money from a client? Like, what was the first jump where you're like, holy shit, this is crazy?
The first jump was honestly when I invested. So I spent 7,000 US dollars on a course. And in all honesty, I hated it. No offense. Like it's got nothing to do with the person that was running it.
Maybe a little
I did
bit.
a little bit, but they didn't speak English as their first language. So it was very difficult. Like I know that person like knew, and they still do have that knowledge, and they're still growing. And I was like, okay, right. I'm not fully invested. I don't really understand what you're trying to say. Maybe you're using the wrong words in English. But from that point, I was like, I didn't get a black belt from quitting. I didn't get 3 from quitting. So I was like, right, I'm just going to write down all the notes like I did at uni, and I'm going to post for every single day for 30 days. I used to wake up at 2 a.m. Australian time to post because back then I thought, oh, you've got to jump on the algorithm at that specific time. Thank goodness for scheduling because my sleep pattern would be screwed. And I grew from, I think it was 35,000 followers to over 100 in less than 3 months. I literally have the graph of what happened. It was like slow in the first couple of weeks and just went boom.
Hmm.
And that's when I reached out to companies to say, hey, like, would you like to sponsor me? And I was just sort of expecting them to come back with, yeah, you can have some free products. But 3 of them came back and was like, we'll pay you X amount per month. And I was like, yeah, I'm
Heck
getting
yeah.
paid
Okay.
literally the same amount of money as me going, hey, how can I help you today?
Okay. And they're not
Yeah,
screaming at you, hopefully.
no.
Who's your favorite sponsor that you have now or that
Oh,
you've worked with?
PE science 100%. Like those guys, I've been working alongside them for well over 2.5 years now, and they've just helped me massively with recovery, self-development as an athlete and like an individual as well. And I just will continue to use them forever basically. So
What is it called? Say it again.
it's called PE Science. It's a supplement and nutrition company that's actually based in the States. Um, 2024, I actually went to visit their warehouse. So I didn't actually get to meet the owner. Hopefully next time I can. But I was fortunate enough to walk around their warehouse, meet a couple of their team. Yeah, they're just an amazing company, and everything is backed up by science. So it's not, I'm very cautious of what I put in my body.
Mm. I know you've been like pretty public about your like gut health, right? And like your
Yeah.
health overall. So give us some background about like what you were working on or what problems you had. And I know that we'll dive into also what it was like being a Taekwondo athlete and managing your weight. But tell us like what issues you were having that you felt like that you need to solve.
Uh, yeah. Okay. So when I moved to Thailand, that was my biggest trigger. And doing a lot of research into it, I realized stress was definitely the catalyst. But living in Thailand, the food, obviously, I'm not saying it's like some of it's not as fresh and some of it's cooked in a lot of oils. So I think what was happening is my body was just so in its sort of fight or flight mode that my body was just completely shutting down. I was reacting so badly to like every mosquito bite. I looked 9 months pregnant, just eating anything. Like honestly, if you looked at me, you would probably be like, "Oh, when are you expecting?" And I'm like,
Mm.
"No, not." So that was probably the worst sort of time for me mentally. And when you reached out, I was trying to be cool, like, "Hey, I've just moved. I'm like busy." No, I was like, I'm trying to like put my head back on my shoulders right now and sort my gut. And yeah, so basically the bloating, it was just really uncomfortable, very from somebody who is typically lean and athlete looks after what they're putting into their body. It's a real sort of kick in the teeth. It's very frustrating. And then it becomes a vicious cycle. You're more frustrated. You have a vagus nerve that, attached from your brain to your gut. So if you're depressed up here, there's research suggesting that your gut's going to be unhappy. And if your gut's unhappy because of the imbalance of microbiome, that can actually cause depression and anxiety upstairs. So it's kind of just like, it's just keeps going. You sort of have to try and relax somehow for your gut to relax, for your brain to relax. So it was very difficult, hence why I'm very cautious of the supplements that I put in my body.
Mm. So why did you move to Thailand originally? Like, why even go there?
So originally, back then, I was actually dating somebody who lived in Thailand, and
Mm.
my visa was sort of on expiry last few months of it of expiring. And I thought, you know what? Like, I'm a digital nomad. I was in Thailand previously. I thought, okay, maybe let's go. We'll give it a try. But yeah, living in Thailand for me was just very different to training in Thailand and then coming back to Australia. But I never regret any of my decisions. So going there actually built my business. I remember sitting in that house in Thailand is where I wrote my notes on building my course. So everything happens for a reason. So I'm very grateful that I actually decided to do that.
How did you end up dating someone who lived in Thailand? Like, how does that happen?
So yeah, when I first went to Thailand, I went with a family as an au pair with a young girl. The dad actually
Oh.
wanted to get their daughter into martial arts, but in Thailand, it can be quite scary for a young girl to go into these Thai classes. They're pretty full on even for myself. So I went there for a couple of weeks. We trained and it was amazing. So I met obviously a couple of the people there and I came back to Australia and then the dad was like, right, we're going for Christmas, which was 3 weeks. And during that time, yeah, I got asked out on a date and I was like, yeah, this is really fun. Like I'm really into this guy. You know, it sort of kicked off from there. We kept the relationship going long distance, and then from that point, it was honestly maybe close to like I think 8 months. I thought, you know what, I'll move to Thailand. Let's give it a go.
Wow. Okay. So then how did you know that like it was the food giving your gut issues? Maybe was it like is it possible it was like the stress from the relationship also or like just being in a new place where you not only friends and family?
But in all honesty, I think it was just everything. I think my body actually likes to communicate using my gut. So even now, like if I know something's wrong, my gut is telling me. So when people say you've got like a real strong gut instinct, I'm very much like trust the instinct. For example, I get a lot of people that would like to interview me, but the amount of times I'll say no because I don't have like this good vibe. I don't have this good feeling. I trust my gut. And back then, I think my body was just going, you know what? I'm going to react in all these sort of ways to just be like, you need to make a decision now. Like,
Okay.
I literally think my body was screaming at me like through my gut.
When you were there and you're I guess feeling pregnant or feeling bloated, were you trying stuff to fix it? Like what did you think the issue was?
Yeah, in all honesty, I thought it was maybe just like the foods because where I lived as well, like it wasn't as easy to go maybe get like certain foods that I usually meal prep with. We didn't really have like a suitable kitchen. So, we would eat out a lot, but a lot of the people I was eating out with were people that trained honestly like 6 hours a day. So those guys can just sort of they need the calories, whereas I wasn't training that much. So for me to be eating the same, I think my body was just it was too much.
Huh.
So I think it was back then I would have thought, yeah, maybe it's the food. So I did a lot of FODMAP diets. I tried to remove a lot of like processed foods, sugary foods, which obviously helped, but I was just eating chicken rice and like cucumber. So
Okay. So is there
yeah.
a certain like diet you follow now or do you generally eat whole foods? Like what do you do now?
Yeah, so coming from such a restrictive background with food, I try to just eat whatever I want because I really don't want there to be any, you can't have this, you have to restrict that. I think that's very unhealthy. But I am very cautious, like I'm not sitting there going, "Oh, you worked hard back then, you gotta treat yourself now." Like, I think that's just an excuse.
Okay, got it. So you're just kind of like you're not restricting certain things, but you just try to make good decisions overall.
Yeah, if you're hungry, you eat, but obviously if you're hungry, don't opt for a chocolate bar first, try and have
Yeah.
some whole foods, and then if you're feeling a little cheeky, grab
Then you
yourself
eat
a
the
chocolate bar.
Vegemite.
There
You grab some
no,
Vegemite right down the hatch.
peanut butter and honey straight sandwich.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about like for you, there's not a lot of female martial arts influencers. There's not a lot of male either, but especially even fewer female, right? And I think for us, for our schools, right, we have our co-founder is a female. Okay. It's
Yeah.
male and female who co-founded the business, right? And there's we have 34 schools in the franchise that my brother started, him and his co-founder. Uh, so luckily, like, I think we're kind of the outlier. Like we have a lot of female instructors, about half and half female to male students, but that is not the norm, right? Like whenever I need to hire an instructor and I'm looking for someone from the outside for experience, it is I'll get 99 applicants that are male and one that's female. Like it's like impossible to find. So
Mm.
is that part like I guess do you feel any pressure to be like, okay, I want to like get more girls involved in martial arts, kind of like when you were an au pair and you had that girl that you live with that like wanted to try it. Like, do you feel any of that pressure? Is that something you think about?
I don't think pressure is the right word. I never feel like the pressure's on me. I think what I would like to do is definitely raise awareness. And in all honesty, martial arts is something that I think you should start at a younger age. Which, if you look at it at that perspective, it now comes down to parents and society, right? If you go, what sport did you play at school? If you were a boy, you get football, rugby, cricket. But if you go and you ask a female or a young girl, she'll be like hockey, netball. It's very much like at school, at primary school, it's very much like you do what you want, right? But I think when you get to high school, it's very much these are the sports for males and these are the sports for women, which I don't think is necessarily fair whatsoever. I think it's very important for both genders to get involved in martial arts. So I've always got this underlying goal. It's never something that's, like I say, pressure. But I definitely want to make sure that kids, young girls, young women, and adults feel comfortable to get into martial arts. The hard thing is as well, you go to a martial arts school and you go and look at the class and you're like, great. In my private dojo, I am the only woman there, but I love it. I've come from a comfortable like 20 years of doing it, right? So that doesn't bother me. Whereas if you're new to the sport and you're a young girl and you're going into a martial arts school, it can be very intimidating. So it is one of those things where it can be quite difficult, but I think a lot of parents, it'd be a great idea to get their kids when they're a young age trying a sport like martial arts, like whether it's taekwondo, karate. Yeah, there's so many benefits as well when they're older.
So, do you think that's the trick to get more girls involved in martial arts? Is like start them when they're younger, and how young are we talking?
So there's like a fine line. Like if you start too young, it could be when they get a little bit older, they burn out and they go, okay, I'm bored. But I started when I was 8, and
Okay.
my martial arts club they were very smart about it. They had different classes, and I was a kid that just wanted to do everything. We had like, yeah, we had Nerf guns on Thursdays. It was so cool. You felt like a ninja as a kid. You were like, yeah, let's go. And you're like, pew, pew, pew. And then there was like dodgeball and all these different classes. We would have acro arts, we would have weapons. Like, yeah, as a child, you're thinking, wow, like I'm playing the nunchucks one day and I'm shooting guns the next, like toy guns. And then when you're actually into your martial arts class, you're very much like, okay, I've had my fun. Now I'm here to learn, and it's very respectful. So I think getting kids there at a young age, making it fun for kids. Yes, traditional, respect, all of that, but martial arts can be. You can play games with kids. You can teach kids a lot of lessons through games.
Hmm. And then when did it become for you? Because obviously you started for the Nerf guns, right? Like, oh, this is
Yeah,
awesome. I could pew 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 all the guys here. I'm a badass girl. But then at some point, it got very serious for you in
yeah,
terms of competition. So, how did that transition happen for you?
yeah. So basically, when I was doing that was ITF. I started with kickboxing and I was competing and winning gold, silver medals. What was happening was I was winning the golds in the juniors and then I was winning the silvers in the seniors. So I would actually fight in both categories. But this is a little bit of a sore subject because the reason I think I got pulled out by my dad from that sort of environment was inside of the juniors, and it was very family orientated, a lot of these competitions. I would fight the daughter and the mum would be refereeing. And then
Huh.
when I would go to fight the seniors, I would fight the mum, but then the dad was also a martial arts instructor. So he was the one refereeing. And in ITF Taekwondo is very, very different to WTF. There's no sensors, there's no computers. It's very much just like, yep, referee says that was a point.
Huh.
So it was starting to become quite frustrating and, it was very biased. I was winning a lot of tournaments, or in my head, I was winning a lot of fights. And yeah, it was just awarded to the other side. And I think my dad was my biggest push. He took me out of that and said, let's go try this club. I've heard great things. And honestly, within 2 weeks, my coach, Richard, at the club was like, yeah, we got to get you to the Great British Trials. I'm just going to make a few calls. And within 2 weeks, a lady came and she was like, yep, she's in.
Wow. So that's trials for to compete for the Olympic team for the UK.
Yeah. But because I was under 18, it's called, I'm just trying to remember the name now. You are basically in the junior development squad. So
Huh.
that is sort of your pathway to becoming into the Olympic senior team. So I stayed in that. I got accepted to fight for one of the European championships. And then when I was 18, sort of transitioned and I got accepted into the Olympic team.
Wow. Okay. How much of that time, like, did that take from your day? Like, were you in school at the time, or are you just doing this now full time? Like, how did you actually juggle those two things?
Yeah, so I didn't really have friends at school. I had one friend, and if that friend was sick, I was like, Mom, I don't feel too good. And I'd be like, gotta stay at home. But school was okay. I did take a lot of time out of school for competitions, but the school were very, very supportive. I'd never missed exams. I never missed any homework or anything like that. And then, moving to university was when I actually got accepted into the Olympic team. That was very difficult. The university basically told me I was too dumb to do both. They
Uh,
essentially said, if you accept this, you're going to fail your exams. And I was like, okay, no problem. I obviously accepted and I moved to Manchester to fight full time. And in between training sessions, regardless of how tired I was studying. And in my first year, I wasn't attending classes at uni. I literally turned up for my exams and I got better grades than my friends that were actually in the lectures
hmm. So they were probably partying the whole time. You were just like fighting and studying.
and sleeping yet,
That's
recovering.
like, so what do you like? What did your parents say? They're like, okay, you're going here. You're gonna fight full time. You're not going like a traditional route of school to get just to get a focus on a degree and then get a job. Like they were totally okay with you join this fighting career.
Very supportive. My dad is my biggest hero. My dad comes from running the Comrades in South Africa, which is, I think it's like 80 or 90 miles. So he knows what it takes to sort of grit down and do something that's quite mentally challenging. And the opposite side of things is my mum is probably the most caring person and loving person like ever. And I think it was actually very difficult for my mum to watch me go through certain things that I did as a woman. Like I said, my dad's very much like, we're South Africans. My dad's very much just like, you've got this. Like, my dad still thinks I should try out for the Australian team today. Like, that's
Yeah.
where my dad's at.
Okay.
But yeah, I know my mum probably shed a lot of tears behind closed doors, probably not in front of me, but she's always been supportive, but she's never thrown a punch or said a bad word about anyone. So I remember some of my fights, she would kind of be like, Craig, is she winning? Like she would
Yeah.
just pillows. She'd be like, she'd be
Yeah.
wanting to be involved, but just so innocent. She'd be like, I can't watch.
So were you convincing your parents like, hey, I want to do this, or was your dad kind of just pushing you along?
No, it was very much just like my parents have been like, look, this is your life. We chose to move to the UK because we wanted a better life for you guys. And essentially, they're like, whatever you want to do, we're going to back you.
Hmm.
I wanted to make that decision. It was very clear that I had a choice. And my parents just backed me the whole way. So yeah, I could really not have asked for more supportive parents
Hmm.
throughout
That's
that sort
really
of journey.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I was a parent, I don't know how I'd act. Like, all right, you're gonna go fight. Why don't you just go get your degree? Like, I don't know. I don't know how I'd be.
Yeah.
I would hope that I would just support whatever. But sometimes as a parent, you're like, okay, well, you're making a dumb decision, you know. But obviously for you,
Yeah.
it worked out. So that which is great.
Yeah,
Um,
I still got best of both worlds. I got
right,
my degree at
right.
the end of the day. I just told university, and this is the thing where self-doubt can creep in. I said, "Hey, it's not you. Like, I'm smart enough to do both. Like, I will get my
Oh yeah,
degree, and I will fight for my country." So,
yeah,
um,
beautiful.
yeah,
When I started my first martial arts school, I was a senior in university, so my final year, and it was in the about a month or 2 before before the school year started that I decided that this is what I was gonna do professionally, and I went from, like I mean, I know they don't really have this as much in Australia or South Africa, but I was very much like a frat American boy, right? Like, whatever movies you've seen, like that, basically, right? Just like partying 4 or 5 days a week. We had a giant mansion, in the city, like, I was our frat house and just nonstop, like, just, like, debauchery behavior, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm like and I did martial arts, right? Like, I've always done it, and as a teenager, I started teaching, I was always doing that too. But when went to university, I was, like, too far away to train consistently, so I'd go every once in a while, like, maybe once a month or so, it was just too far. And then when I figured out this is what I was gonna do for a living, like, it was like flipping a light switch, I changed overnight. It was like, "Okay, I can't party now because 'cause I'm teaching
yeah,
four-year-olds on Saturday mornings, so I can't be, like, hungover for that," right? And I remember going to my teachers specifically and telling them like, "Hey, I'm opening this business. I'm doing martial arts. I don't care about this anymore." Like in the nicest way possible, right?
yeah, yeah,
So tell me the minimum amount of work that I need to do to graduate, right? And they were so supportive. It was like shocking. They're like, "Okay, do this, this, and this. We'll make sure you graduate." And like that senior
wow,
year, I did like literally the bare minimum that I could possibly do to get away with because I was like, if I wasn't studying or passing a test or whatever, writing. I did a lot of writing of papers because I was a political science major, so it was a lot of writing. If I wasn't writing or reading, then I was like just trying to get new students at school, right? So they were super, super supportive. I'm so grateful because most of the time you hear stories about people, the schools like you, like where they're like, ah, you can't do that. Like they're like, no, you got it. You go. We'll help you.
yeah,
Here's what you need to
wow.
do. Yeah. So I feel like very lucky that they put me in that situation.
Yeah, but I do feel like that as one of your questions I previously took a look at, where do you think we're quite similar? And I think
Yeah.
that is somewhere where we're quite similar, regardless of what someone else is going to tell you what you can and can't do or have the capabilities of doing. You're going to be like, this is what I want to do, and I know this is what I can achieve. You either support me or you don't. But like you say, I saw one of your posts and it was like, this is what your life will look like if someone's supporting you, and this is what it's going to look like when they're not. And it's exactly the same. Like you don't
Yeah.
do anything for someone else. You do it because it's your passion, it's your interest. But yeah, I wish my uni was that supportive. The only thing I got support with was, like a massage team and like a psychologist if I needed. So I'm very grateful for that sort of stuff. But
Mm.
the academic team, which is very different to the sports sort of support side, was
Mhm.
very much like, no, you need to attend lectures. You're gonna fail. You're too
Yeah.
stupid. Like, and I'm hearing all this and I'm going, cool, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, that's, like, more
See you at
motivation,
exams.
right?
Yeah. It's been a thing throughout my academic journey that primary school basically said, oh, she's not smart enough to do English and maths and science. And then also with it was my A levels, I got told I wasn't smart enough to do three A levels. So I did three A levels and a B Tech. Like I
Right.
literally just was like, screw you guys. Like they base, you know, yeah, they were basing like what you can and can't do on your parents' postcode and your parents' income. And I'm like, it's got nothing to do with me as a person. And I don't know these other students, but I can tell you right now, I reckon I've got more discipline than anyone in this classroom. So yeah, it's a bit of a sore thing. I hate being told what I can and can't do. Like I will prove you wrong, but it's not necessary to prove them wrong. It's just to be like, yeah, I know I can do it, so I'm going to do it.
So do you think your motivation is more based on like the negative, like they told me I can't, so therefore I want to do it, or is this like, oh, I just want to achieve? Right. And the reason why I ask that is because, like, for me, in a business sense, like, I am more motivated by the idea that I don't want to be poor or don't want to have to beg other people for money than I am motivated of like, I want to just have money so I can have a nice car. Like, the motivation is more like, I
Yeah.
don't want to end up in that bad situation. And that's like me personally. Like, the negative motivates me more. I don't know if that's healthy or not. It's just like, it's just how I feel. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'd say I'll never choose a decision to do something to prove anyone wrong or like anything like that. But I would definitely just to do something because I know what sort of lifestyle that I want and would like to have. And therefore, to get that, I need to make a
Yeah.
specific decision. I think the negative side as well, it will always be there. It's always like, you don't want to be poor. You don't want to have to go and buy something and count your pennies afterwards and be like, all right, I can't spend the
Yeah.
next month. I think when you want to be just comfortable, yeah. But the negative can drive you as well. Like, if someone says you can't do something, you'll be like, well, all the better reason to sort of show my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch me do what you told me I can't do.
Hmm. And like obviously, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make when you are competing. And I know some of those things we said we want to talk about was
Mm.
like weight management, right? So tell us a little bit of your experience. Like, I guess how much weight do you have to lose from walking around weight to competition weight, and how that actually affect you as a young girl?
Yeah, so when I was in the academy, I was roughly like 17, 17, 18, sort of around that area. From starting so early, obviously, when you go through puberty as a woman, that was very delayed for me. And I think, again, that was just when you're competing so much and you're performing. And as an athlete, you do lose a lot of weight. Your body sort of like will shut down certain areas. So basically, I struggled a lot with what's called amenorrhea, and that basically is where your your body as a woman is just actually not capable of having a period every month. It's basically saying, I don't want you to get pregnant. I don't want you. You can't actually be a mother right now. You can't actually, do the things that your body is supposed to do every month because you're too light. You're not fueling. You're under fueling. You're fluctuating your weight like this all the time. So yeah, as a woman and like a young woman back then, it was very difficult and sacrificing. I remember training 6 hours a day and I would eat less than 20 grams of carbs. That is an apple. That is one apple and your
Oh
carbs are
my
gone.
God.
There was no peanut butter and honey back then. And
Mm.
I weigh 61.5 kilos now and I'm 172 centimeters, like 5'7", 5'8". Back then, I was still the same height, 171.4, 172. I used to fight at 49 kilograms.
Oh my
Like,
God.
you weigh 49 kilograms when you're in primary school, when you're in high school as I'm talking young girl. So my body was shutting down, like couldn't sleep. My hair was brittle, my nails, my skin, all of that stuff wasn't having a period. And yeah, the weight cutting, like I do have a story for you. It's pretty like, I don't know what the word would be, very frustrating to even say out loud. I got accepted into the university games, and there was two athletes from the Great Britain British Academy. We both got selected. One who naturally sat at around 50, 51 kilos. Myself at the time, I roughly sat probably 55, okay, which is still really skinny, really light. They decided to take me, who is the heaviest athlete at 49, and take this other athlete at 52s. Okay. Why? I don't know. You can actually gain points in both categories for your Olympic weight. There was no need to actually force me to cut weight. Long story short, failed. I weighed 49.2
Oh my God.
and for months wasn't eating. When I got there, I was literally eating chicken breast. I was in a sauna sweatsuit in Taiwan. Like, it was ridiculous. And what I remember, this probably ruffle a few feathers, but I remember going in there fully naked because literally, like, you take everything off, standing on this scale, crying my eyes out as a young woman after being in this sauna with naked Taiwanese people, in and out, trying to dry myself. I fail the weigh in and they say, look, like we can't do anything. We're gonna have to give you a fail. I literally remember sitting in that weigh-in room by myself as a woman because there's no other women's coach, right? Crying my eyes out. And now I look at it going, hey, I could have lost two just from the tears. And I come out and my coach didn't say a word to me. Like not one word. Like it was like, you failed us. You shouldn't be in the team. That's literally like the voices that I could hear.
Oh my god. So they were just disappointed. They didn't care about.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was I got back to the UK very, very quickly after that. I was taken straight in for a meeting. Why did you fail? Not, hey, let's talk about it. How are you? Is everything okay? Like body wise, like actually mentally wise. It was like, no, you failed. What happened? Why did you fail? Like that's
Mm.
not good enough.
So how does that actually impact you now, or like then? Okay, so then like obviously it's gonna be disheartening, but do you feel like a lot of times when people have to lose weight for some sort of fitness endeavor, it could cause disordered eating patterns, right? So did that affect you
Yeah.
when you were done?
Oh, from becoming an athlete, it definitely had eating disorders and it's taken years. And that's why I always want to talk to my clients that are young women who get into martial arts because club owners sometimes don't have the knowledge that, you need to actually pass down to these athletes, men and women, and especially the young girls as well. They will often want to give us the height advantage, which means dropping the weight. But what they don't tell them is, okay, as a woman, like for myself, I'm very open about it. It has taken me this year, 2025, is the first year since being an athlete I've had a period consecutively in the year. So we're in October now, but I finished in 2019. It's 2025 and my body has gone, you know what? I'm ready to like start doing its thing. There's been
Oh
a
my
lot
god. Wait,
of
how old are you now?
recovery. I'm 27.
Okay, so you were like 21, 22 at that time, or 6 years, 20, yeah, 21.
It would have
Wow,
been,
holy
yeah.
crap, that's crazy. Um, wow. So like, do you think that they need to change rules based on your experience? Like, what do they actually do to I guess, how to make it better for young girls?
It's again, it's always going to be that tough decision because the athletes and the coaches will want the best advantage, and that will still be the case. What they have brought out is a 5% rule. So 5% of your category can get called on the day, but you have to weigh within 5% of your weight class. So if I can go in and weigh in the night before, 49 kilograms, cool. But I then can't, like back when I was competing, you could just eat, refuel, do what you wanted. However, the day of competition, you literally might get, hey, Courtney Eardley from Great British, like we need you come to get weighed in. So what they're trying to do is make sure that people are going into a category that is more sustainable. However, I actually wrote my thesis on this in the UK. All it's doing is actually prolonging the weight cut for an extra 24 hours,
Mhm.
which is actually, I think, in my opinion, way worse because that 24 hours where they could have been refueling is, yeah. Because if you hit 49 kilograms at that point, I was done. I was dead. I was like a skeleton. And to not be able to even drink water and get fluids in, like you're not going to be performing your best on the mats in the ring. It's impossible.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, it's crazy how they can institute a rule and then they think they're making it better, but they're actually making it worse. And it's sad because like they have good intentions, right? I'm sure somehow they had some meaning like, oh, this is going to be good, but it made it a lot worse. It's kind of like who was it? I think it was Bill Gates. I remember reading this article how Bill Gates he donated mosquito nets to a poor country. I don't remember what country it was, but it was a desolate country that didn't have any money, and they had issues with like tons of disease passed by mosquitoes. Right, it's gonna help all these people, right? So he donates some mosquito nets, and what happened is they ended up taking the mosquito nets and they're like, "Oh, wow, this is really great for catching fish." So they took the mosquito nets and put them in the river. And not only did they deplete the river of all the fish, they caught too many of them at once because they were too easy to catch. But there was a mosquito netting was like sprayed because it was made in like, I don't know, some chemical plant, right? And it was sprayed with something, and like the spray on it or the dye, whatever it was leaking into the river. So not only they catch the fish in the
Mhm.
beginning, but also like started to kill all the wildlife in the river, right? And it was like good intentions. I have this mosquito net. It's going to help these people from spreading disease, but it also like really hurt them because they used it the wrong way. Right.
Yeah,
So,
wow.
it's so crazy, like unintended consequences. Right. So that's what I think about when you have that, that rule. Um,
Yeah, damn, and it's, like, out of his control, right? So it's the same thing, they implement this rule, but it's actually up to the user or the athlete to, excuse me, do what's actually right in that situation.
right.
Yeah, wow. 'Cause
All right.
he's got enough money, he could have sent them fishing nets.
Yeah.
Send them both.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Let's do some quick rapid fire questions and then we'll go from there. So this will be kind of fun. Okay, who would be on your martial arts Mount Rushmore?
Okay, so I don't think you're gonna know this athlete, but it is a specific athlete that I used to fight on a regular basis.
Okay,
And her name is Panipak. If I'm correct, she's from Thailand and she is an insane athlete. Like I have never been in a ring with someone and I've literally shit myself and been like, I can't do
okay.
anything. Every time I fought her, her foot was either in my face or on my stomach, 3 points, 2 points. She is just an incredible athlete. Like multiple Olympic medalists, and I have fought her before, and she gapped everybody. So it was a 20-point gap. I was so proud of myself that it was 27-7 at the end. I was like, look, I got 7 points. I don't care if they were by default. She's just such an efficient athlete that I would love to just give her credit.
Yeah, okay. So that's one. You need three more.
Three,
Yeah, three
four,
more. So Mount Rushmore is four heads. And that's like in the front
four.
of the yeah. So is there anyone if you don't have four, it's okay. But is there anyone else you'd add? It's like the most like these people need to be carved in stone in the history of martial arts.
Oh, in all honesty, I'll go back to what I said before. I was very much just tunnel vision. I know some people would say that, oh, Bruce Lee, and I'm very much just like, nah. For
Boom.
me, it was like who I was fighting. I think I was more inspired by the people that were like in front of me. So a
Yeah.
lot of like I'd say a lot of my peers. But yeah, I couldn't give you three, I'd be lying.
Okay. All right, next one. If you had one move to defend yourself, which one are you
Oh,
going with?
sidekick.
Psychic? Okay. And
100% a sidekick.
you're going like front leg sidekick? You doing spinning sidekick?
Front leg sidekick with my right leg. That would
Yeah.
be I don't care if you're throwing a punch, a spinning kick, anything at me, sidekick any day of the week.
Cool. All right, next one. What's one martial arts weapon we should get rid of?
I saw this question and I have to say the throwing stars.
Oh, the
Reason but
throwing stars? But they're so
yeah,
good
yeah,
for
okay.
movies.
Yeah, but hear me out. You've got to go retrieve them.
Oh,
Like,
my God.
do you know what I mean? Like you're throwing this thing, yeah, you could do some damage, but you're like, hey, hold on, I'm on like run, get it back, like pulling it out of somebody's body. Like I've never seen in the movies them pulling it out of someone and
But
then going again.
why do you have to retrieve it? Why can't you just go buy new ones and leave them?
Yeah, but you're in a fight scenario, right? You've got 20 people, you've only got 5 stars on you. You're like, pew, 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 pew. And then you're like, shit, hold on. I just got to go pull all those back.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
another 15 to go. You know, if you got
Okay,
a
fair,
sword, you
fair.
could just,
Okay, we're assuming mass attack. We only have five
yeah,
ninjas. Okay, got
you've
it.
got to
Fair.
be prepared for every scenario. If
I
you've only
love
got
that.
5 stars, you've got five. It's like having 5 bullets.
All right, next one. Name a martial arts move that looks cool but sucks in a fight.
Oh, oh, that's a tough one. What sort of fight are we talking though? Is this a taekwondo sparring
I would
fight
say just
or
like on the
street fight?
street.
Oh, I would say I'm gonna say a tornado kick.
Okay,
O
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
on the streets, yeah, you're gonna just look a little bit like a douche. Like I say, you're better off just just throwing something that will keep them away, sort of, yeah, just go, hey, back off. Like I know what I'm doing. If you side kick someone in the right spot, you're gonna win them and they're gonna go, right, okay, I've heard what you're saying.
But if you do a tornado kick and you land it, you're gonna get 100,000 followers like overnight.
You're also probably gonna get arrested for that. Tornado kick is like you're basically saying, I know how to use martial arts as a weapon, which is definitely not what we don't do as martial artists. Self defense, a push kick or a side kick, if you do get arrested for that, you can say, hey, that was just self defense. I'm keeping my distance.
Okay, fair.
Smart.
All right, let me see. Let's do one more. What's the best gift you've ever received?
Oh, see, this one I was stuck with. In all honesty, I'm going to have to say like support from my parents or my parents in general. I try to think of something and there's just nothing that I've been gifted materialistically like that I can say gives me more than what my parents have given me my entire life. Like we don't even live in the same country and I can feel their support from here. Not once did they say I can't move to Australia. Not once have they ever doubted my ability. They've backed me. Even if I didn't win a medal, they backed me. I think my parents and martial arts combined have like made me the woman I am today.
I love that. All right. What book has shaped your career the most? It doesn't have to be a
That's a
career. It
tough
could be
one
just you. Yeah.
because you're asking for one book that's tough. I really
Yeah.
like, I'd say Atomic Habits.
Mm,
It's nothing that I didn't know before, but I think the habit stacking was really helpful. You know, like when you do a certain thing, making sure it just you follow it by five other things. I think it's just actually sped up a lot of success, I would
mm.
say. Not just in the business, but just personal success as well.
All right. Last one. What job would you not do even if you made $1 billion a month?
Anything to do with being in tight spaces.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hell no. I need to be free. I'm very claustrophobic. Yeah, nope. Couldn't do it.
Guys, so no.
I'm okay with heights, just don't put me in a hole.
Yeah, got it. Well, thank you so much for coming on here. Had a good time. If someone wants to reach out to you, they're interested in life coaching, social media coaching, they want to check out your wish list. How do they find you?
Easiest place to find me is Instagram, Taekwondo Technician, or social media sensei. And don't be shy. Like, please, I'm an open book. Ask me any questions, anything, even if you think they're embarrassing or when people say it's a silly question, there is no silly question. So hopefully, I hear from a couple of you after this episode.
Cool. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Matthew Brenner. If you want to learn how to grow your martial arts school organically, that means without depending on ads by creating partnerships with your local schools, daycares, and businesses, you can reach out to me, Matthew at wdojo.com, or visit our website at wdojo.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.